Hello, I'm Elia Castranova. I want to talk to you about pedestrians who are injured in accidents. And I represent many different kinds of pedestrian accidents and help the injured people make sure that they get the fair compensation that they're entitled to when they're hit while using the street or sidewalk. Of course, there's many stories nowadays about, especially here in Los Angeles, California, about the sidewalks and what terrible disrepair they're in, how they're cracked and tree roots lift them up. And the city has been given a budget to fix these sidewalks, but there's hundreds of miles of sidewalks, and it might take years to get to them. What we do is when someone is injured in a trip and fall on a sidewalk is we go out there right away, and I like to go out to the scene myself right away and find out what caused them to trip. Then we almost always, dealing with cities and counties, we have to file a lawsuit because they don't settle cases right away. So we file a claim, which you have to file a claim with a city or county because they're a public entity, and you have to do that within 6 months usually. And then we file a lawsuit when that claim is rejected, which it's almost always rejected. Doesn't mean the case is not good, it just means you're dealing with a county or city, and they don't just settle without filing a lawsuit. And then we get into what's called the discovery phase, and we find out how long this particular situation has occurred. Is it something where tree roots lifted up, which doesn't take a few days? It takes months and months or years. We check Google Earth to find out if we can see the particular defect in the sidewalk. And this goes the same as a street. Frequently people are crossing streets and they trip on cracks and things of this nature also. But we do that, and then we ask the city for all their records as far as maintenance of that particular area to find out when was the last time they went out there to maintain it. Has it been years and years? If they went out there to maintain it, do they have records that show that there's a recommendation to fix it? Did they do anything? Did they do the correct thing? So that's we do all this. Also, we represent clients who are hurt while crossing streets by getting hit by cars. You know, a lot of people think that someone is entitled to compensation and the right-of-way only if they're crossing in a marked or unmarked crosswalk. Well, this is not true. I've represented numerous clients who have crossed streets, even busy streets, at mid-block. Very often, there are not crosswalks for another quarter mile or intersectional light or something of that nature to give them safe passage. And this is frequently true in our minority areas, areas where there's a high African-American population or Hispanic population. There's just not a lot of crosswalks, and there's just not a lot of lights at which these people can cross. That's why you see all of these hit-and-run accidents with people crossing the street, because they don't have anywhere else that's reasonable to cross a street. I've represented many clients who have crossed at mid-block, and we have been able to obtain substantial compensation for people that are injured in these accidents. And of course, it's logical that they're hurt badly because they're hit by a car, and it could be a hit-and-run accident, or it could be an accident where we find out the identity of the person that does it. But a car weighs 2-3 tons, and so it causes devastating injuries. But we prove that very often that the person who hit them should have seen them if they were watching where they were going, that the sight lines were not obstructed at all, that the lighting was adequate, or we also prove that they're distracted driving. They're using their cell phones when they should be paying attention to the road, or they're impaired by alcohol or drugs or something of that nature. So we always follow up on these cases to try to make them stronger. As I said, the injuries are devastating. So when the injuries are terrible, you have fractures, brain injuries, things of that nature in pedestrian accidents, and you have some indication that the other party could avoid the accident. In that case, we very, very often, if not always, recover a substantial compensation for them. And again, we know doctors who treat these kinds of terrible injuries, who are well qualified and who wait until the case is over before they want to be paid, even as far as surgery and physical therapy, things of this nature. I want to add one more thing. Very often when somebody's hit and run when they're a pedestrian, we've been able to, at times, make claims against the city because they should have had a crosswalk, or the lighting wasn't good, or there's trees obstructing stop signs, things of this nature. Or we find that the person who is hit lives in a household that has uninsured motorist coverage. If a person hits and runs, or they don't have insurance on their car, we can frequently find coverage through one of the household members' uninsured motorist policies and get them compensation that way. So we never leave a stone unturned, so to speak, when trying to find fair and just compensation.